You're walking through your daily routine, thinking you've got a decent handle on how the world works, until you hear that octopuses have 3 hearts. Not 1. 3. And when they swim, 2 of them actually stop beating. It's not science fiction, it's their reality. Your own heart thumps away while theirs takes breaks mid-stroke. The ocean, it seems, is a breeding ground for bizarre truths. Take the immortal jellyfish, for example. Instead of dying like everything else in the animal kingdom, it reverts to an earlier stage of life and starts over, like pressing a biological reset button. Imagine if you could just decide, one day, you know what, let's go back to childhood, and your body followed suit. But it's not just the sea that stashes these mind benders. Trees, those calm, leafy companions on your morning jog, communicate underground using mycorrhizal fungi. It's like a forest-wide internet. Through this fungal web, they share nutrients, warn of dangers, and even nurture their young. The image of a grizzled old oak whispering advice to a sapling below the soil is surreal. But it's what happens. It's stranger than any talking tree Tolkien dreamed up. Now shift your gaze to the skies. Rain isn't always clear. In India and Sri Lanka, red rain has been recorded, colored by airborne spores that fell like blood from the sky. Scientists scratched their heads until microbiologists found the cells were unlike anything familiar, possibly even extraterrestrial. It reads like a tabloid, but it happened. Real people stood in real crimson downpours, wondering if the world was ending. And then there's you, living in a reality where bananas are berries, but strawberries aren't, where Pluto got kicked out of the Planet Club, and spiders can rain from the sky in Australia. You're used to fiction preparing you for surprise plot twists, but reality, it's already written stories so bizarre they make Hollywood writers jealous. And guess what? Those stories don't end in a book or a movie. They play out every day, unnoticed by the uncurious. So while others shrug and turn away, you lean in, because you know now reality doesn't just compete with fiction, it wins. Every time. That uncanny feeling you get when D8 view hits. It might just be your brain glitching. But in Switzerland, scientists created an experiment that simulated out-of-body experiences using nothing but virtual reality and a few well-placed strokes on a participant's back. People truly felt like they were floating behind themselves, watching their own body. So when movies show souls drifting up from the chest, hovering overhead, it's not that far off. With enough suggestion and neurological nudging, your brain can be tricked into thinking it's anywhere else. Speaking of weird science, did you know the universe smells like burnt steak? Astronauts aboard the International Space Station reported that after spacewalks, their suits carried back a scent, metallic, smoky, oddly meaty. The chemical reactions that occur in space generate compounds that smell like seared proteins. So yes, the cosmos doesn't just look majestic. It even has a menu. You also live on a planet that spins at over 1,000 miles per hour at the equator and hurtles around the sun at nearly 67,000 miles per hour. Yet your coffee doesn't spill, your hair stays in place, and your feet don't fly out from under you. Gravity is quiet like that, holding everything down while we remain oblivious. It's the most elegant magic trick in existence. And what about the language you use every day? There's a language in Mexico called Ayapaneco that almost went extinct. Not because people forgot it, but because the last 2 fluent speakers refused to talk to each other. Petty human drama endangered an entire mode of communication. Fiction might imagine alien races clashing in space, but we've managed to let grudges silence entire dialects right here on Earth. Here's one more for your mental bookshelf. You've seen glass windows every day of your life. You think of them as solid, right? But glass is technically a supercooled liquid. Over centuries, old glass windows actually warp, thicker at the bottom, because gravity tugs at the molecules ever so slowly. It's an invisible process, so subtle you'd miss it if you weren't paying attention. And maybe that's the point. Reality doesn't shout, it whispers. And those whispers say, look closer. You ever hear of the dancing plague? In 1518, hundreds of people in Strasbourg started dancing uncontrollably, day and night, until they dropped from exhaustion or worse. No one knows exactly why. Mass hysteria, or gut poisoning, supernatural belief. Theories abound, but the truth remains a whole crowd too stepped themselves into history, unable to stop. If a movie opened with that scene, you'd call it absurd. Yet it happened. And it's not the only time human behavior has bent the boundaries of reason. Take the hum, a low-frequency humming sound reported by people in places like Taos, New Mexico, and Bristol, England. It's not coming from machines. It's not detected by microphones. Yet thousands insist they hear it. For some, it's maddening. For others, it's nothing. It's not fiction. It's our world, filled with sounds that might not even exist except in perception. Or maybe we just don't have the tools to prove they're real. Either way, it humbles you. Meanwhile, let's rewind to ancient Egypt. Picture Cleopatra preparing for a desert day. What does she reach for? Crocodile, dung sunscreen. That's right, dried reptile excrement, mashed and mixed with other ingredients, smeared on skin as a sunblock. Think your SPF 50 smells weird. That's child's play compared to ancient beauty routines. It wasn't effective, obviously, but it shows how the human imagination will go to outrageous lengths for protection, for beauty, for belief. Then there's the cosmic coincidence of the moon and the sun appearing the same size from Earth. The moon is 400 times smaller than the sun, but it's also 400 times closer, making solar eclipses possible. That mathematical synchronicity is wildly improbable. And yet, here you are, living on the one planet where that miracle lines up just right. Not fiction. Just Earth being casually miraculous. And speaking of Earth's quirks, do you know you glow in the dark? Not enough to see it with your eyes, but humans emit a visible light, bioluminescence, about 1,000 times weaker than what we can detect. Special cameras have captured it, and it even follows your biological clock. You shine, literally, just not bright enough for the mirror to notice. Makes you wonder what else about yourself you haven't seen yet. In Japan, there's a train station that stayed operational with only one passenger, a high school girl. The government kept it running just so she could finish school. The train had no economic purpose, just a human one. Try scripting that and not getting laughed out of a studio pitch meeting. But kindness sometimes makes its own logic, one that fiction rarely dares to replicate for fear of sounding unrealistic. And then you've got wombat poop. Yes, that's right, cubes. Perfect little bricks left in the forest. Scientists only recently figured out why. Turns out it has to do with the elasticity of their intestines. Evolution didn't settle on that shape for fun. It's so they can stack the poop to mark territory without it rolling away. Think about that. An entire digestive tract engineered for geometry. You don't get that in your average sci-fi plot. Or how about this? You could be breathing molecules right now that passed through Julius Caesar's lungs. Thanks to the way air molecules disperse over time, it's statistically likely that each breath you take contains atoms once exhaled by ancient rulers, dinosaurs, or even the people who danced themselves to death in Strasbourg. The past doesn't stay put. It lingers inside you unnoticed. And if you think animals play it straight, consider the mimic octopus. This creature can impersonate sea snakes, lionfish, and even flounders, altering its shape and behavior in real time. It's like shape-shifting magic performed casually on the seafloor. Meanwhile, we're out here struggling to pick an outfit in the morning. Oh, and remember the glass windows that slowly warp? Well, here's one better. There are lakes that can explode. In Cameroon, Lake Nyos is one of them. It stores up coal under pressure, and if it releases all at once, as it did in 1986, it suffocates everything around it. Invisible, instant devastation from a lake that looks calm and beautiful. Imagine looking at water and knowing it holds death beneath the surface. Calm isn't always safe. Now loop back to those forests whispering underground. Did you know plants can count? The Venus flytrap, for instance. waits until its prey touches it twice before snapping shut, and scientists discovered it even keeps track of how many times the bug wiggles afterward to decide how much digestive juice to release. That's strategy. That's a green, leafy brain operating without neurons. If that doesn't rattle your definition of intelligence, check your pulse. In Antarctica, there's a waterfall the color of blood. Blood falls, it's called. Its red hue comes from iron oxide spilling out of an ancient underground lake. But the real kicker: that lake has been sealed off for millions of years, fostering a unique ecosystem with microbes that evolved in complete isolation. Life, it turns out, doesn't need sunlight or normal rules. It just needs somewhere to be. And the sun, it doesn't burn like fire. It fuses hydrogen into helium in a nuclear reaction, producing the energy that powers nearly every living thing on Earth. But it's not a ball of flames. It's a physics-defying furnace, and it's been doing its job for billions of years. We treat sunrises as mundane, but the source of them, it's literally the closest star's quiet roar, lighting up the impossible. Let's wrap this strange carousel with the fact that you are made of stardust. Every element in your body heavier than hydrogen was forged in the heart of an exploding star. You aren't just on Earth. You vary the universe, looking back at itself, blinking in awe. That's not poetic fluff, it's astrophysics. You are fiction's wildest hope come to life. And you don't need aliens or elves to be extraordinary. So now, when you see a shadow flicker, or a leaf turn, or someone laugh at an impossible story, remember the truth: the world doesn't need to make things up to be magical. It already is. You are already walking through a dream that no author could invent, and no screen could capture. And now that your eyes are open, you don't unsee it. You walk taller. You listen harder. Because you finally know, you were never living in an ordinary world. You just hadn't noticed yet. You think you've seen it all. Think again. The world is full of secrets, hidden truths, and mind-bending realities waiting to be uncovered. What if everything you believe is just the beginning? Hit subscribe, and let's keep unraveling the mysteries that could change everything.